The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floors of Sterling Manor as I methodically wiped down the antique tables. My sister Victoria's voice echoed through the grand ballroom, directing the event staff for our mother's 60th birthday celebration. The flowers go there, no, not there. Honestly, can't anyone do anything right? Victoria huffed, her Louboutins clicking against the floor. Olivia. The tables in the East Wing still need cleaning. I straightened my back, fighting the urge to remind her that I had a master's degree in business from Stanford. Instead, I adjusted my simple black dress, the one she assumed was a uniform, and nodded. Right away, Victoria. The cleaning staff suits you, she smirked, tapping away on her phone. At least you're finally doing something useful instead of traveling, or whatever excuse you've been using these past 5 years. If she only knew those travels involved acquiring properties across 3 continents. Sterling Manor, this 50-acre estate with its private lake and helipad, was my latest acquisition. But today I was just another member of the staff watching my family's dynamics unfold. Mom swept in, elegant in her designer gown. Victoria, darling, everything looks perfect. You've always had such impeccable taste. She barely glanced in my direction. Oh, make sure you dust the Ming vases properly. Yes, Mrs. Bennet, I replied, using the formal address that was part of my cover. My mother didn't even recognize her own daughter. Then again, she hadn't really looked at me in years. Can you believe this place? My younger brother Derek loudly announced, entering with his latest girlfriend. Must be worth what, 20-30 million? Victoria, how did you even book it? I have connections, Victoria preened. The owner is some reclusive billionaire who never uses it. Their loss, our gain. I bit back a smile. The reclusive billionaire was currently dusting their precious vases. The property was worth closer to 90 million, not that they'd ever know. Speaking of gains, Mom chimed in. Derek's hedge fund just acquired another tech startup. And Victoria's interior design firm landed the Singapore Airlines contract. She sighed dramatically. If only all my children were so accomplished. Has anyone heard from Olivia lately? Derek asked, finally noticing the staff member nearby. Last I heard, she was backpacking through Europe or something equally pointless. Probably ran out of money again, Victoria snickered. Remember when she tried to start that investment company? What a joke. That joke, now managed over $12 billion in assets, with offices in London, Dubai, and Hong Kong. The Singapore Airlines contract Victoria was so proud of? My holding company owned 30% of the airline. My phone buzzed discreetly, a message from my estate manager, Mr. Phillips. Ms. Montgomery, the documents you requested are ready. Shall we proceed as planned? I typed a quick yes before returning to my dusting. The stage was set. In exactly 20 minutes, my family would learn who really owned Sterling Manor. And much, much more. Victoria's voice cut through my thoughts. Staff. There's a scuff on the dance floor. Fix it. I turned, meeting her eyes directly for the first time that day. Of course, Ms. Bennet. Would you like me to polish the Fleming paintings in the East Wing as well? The what? She frowned. The Fleming collection. The priceless paintings in the East Wing. Victoria's face reddened. Of course I know about those. Just clean the floor. I hid my smile. Victoria, who prided herself on her art knowledge, hadn't even realized she was standing beneath a $40 million masterpiece. Just like she hadn't realized her useless sister now controlled one of the largest private real estate portfolios in Asia. Mr. Phillips appeared at the doorway, our signal that everything was in place. In his hand was a leather folder containing documents that would shatter my family's perception forever. Mom raised her champagne glass. To the perfect venue for my perfect birthday. I checked my watch. Time for the cleaning staff to reveal herself as the owner. Mrs. Bennet, Mr. Phillips cleared his throat, interrupting Mom's toast. I apologize for the intrusion, but there seems to be a situation requiring immediate attention. Victoria bristled at the interruption. Can't you see we're in the middle of something? Deal with it yourself. I'm afraid I need to speak with the property owner, he continued, his eyes finding mine. Ms. Montgomery? The room fell silent. Mom's champagne glass froze halfway to her lips. Of course, Mr. Phillips, I said, straightening from my cleaning position. What seems to be the problem? Victoria let out a shrill laugh. Very funny. Stop wasting our time and get back to work before I report you. Report her to whom? Mr. Phillips asked mildly. Ms. Montgomery owns Sterling Manor. The champagne glass in Mom's hand shattered, sending crystal shards across the marble floor. Derek's girlfriend squeaked in surprise. That's impossible, Mom stammered. Olivia. I removed the plain black apron, revealing the tailored dress underneath. Hello, Mother. Surprise. Victoria's face cycled through shades of red. This is absurd. You can't even afford rent in the city. I had to help you pay for lunch 3 years ago. Actually, I smiled, you insisted on paying for lunch while I was finalizing the purchase of the building your design firm operates from. I turned to Mr. Phillips. The documents? He opened the leather folder, revealing contracts and deeds. The Fleming collection has been successfully transferred to the East Wing, and the renovation plans for the North Garden are ready for your approval. Derek grabbed the papers, his banking experience letting him understand exactly what he was seeing. These are real. But the holding company listed here, that's one of the largest property developers in Asia. Montgomery Global Holdings, I confirmed. Founded 6 years ago in my apartment. The one you all thought was embarrassingly small for a woman my age. But I booked this venue through Preston and Blake Realty, Victoria protested weakly. A subsidiary of Montgomery Global, I explained, along with 30 other luxury property management firms across 4 continents. Mom sank into a nearby chair, her perfect posture crumbling. All those times you said you were traveling. Board meetings in Dubai. Property acquisitions in Singapore. Opening our Tokyo office. I walked to the Fleming painting Victoria had failed to recognize. This piece alone cost more than your entire design firm's annual revenue. Ms. Montgomery, Mr. Phillips interjected, the mayor is on line 1 regarding the downtown development project. Victoria's face went from red to white. The Hamilton Plaza project? That's where my biggest client is planning to move their headquarters. Yes, all 40 floors of it. My building, by the way. I turned to my brother. And Derek, about that tech startup your hedge fund just acquired? Check who owns the majority stake in your fund. Derek fumbled with his phone, pulling up financial records. His face went ashen. You're our principal investor? Through a series of shell companies, yes. I thought it was time for a family reunion of sorts. I pressed a button and hidden panels in the walls slid open, revealing screens displaying real-time data from my global operations. Welcome to my actual office. But you failed. Victoria burst out. That investment company you started, it collapsed. A strategic bankruptcy, I corrected. Sometimes you need to appear small to grow large. A lesson our family never quite understood. The screens showed properties across the world. Hotels in Paris, skyscrapers in Shanghai, private islands in the Maldives. All under the Montgomery Global banner. The cleaning staff suits me, you said? I moved to the center of the room. Tell me, Victoria, how does it feel to know you've been paying rent to your failure of a sister for the past 3 years? Victoria's perfectly manicured hands trembled as she sank into a nearby chair. This is some kind of trick. You're still just Olivia. Ms. Montgomery, another staff member approached with a tablet. The London office needs approval for the Deutsche Bank acquisition. 2.3 billion euros, correct? I asked, scanning the documents before adding my digital signature. Make sure legal reviews the offshore components. Mom had finally found her voice. But all those family dinners where you could barely afford wine. I own 3 vineyards in France, I replied coolly. I just enjoyed watching you insist on treating me to $30 bottles while lecturing me about financial responsibility. Derek was still scrolling through his phone, his banking experience letting him piece things together. The Mitchell Group merger last year. The mysterious Asian investor. That was you? The same investor who now controls 60% of your hedge fund's portfolio, I confirmed. Maybe you shouldn't have skipped those Asia-Pacific investment meetings to play golf. The grand ballroom's doors opened again and my chief financial officer entered, elegant in her Armani suit. Ms. Montgomery, I have the quarterly reports ready, and the Prime Minister of Singapore is confirming tomorrow's lunch. Victoria choked on air. Prime Minister? We're discussing the redevelopment of Marina Bay, I explained. A little $5 billion project your backpacking sister is overseeing. Mom stood suddenly, her social conditioning kicking in. Darling, why didn't you tell us? We would have. Would have what, mother? Stopped telling everyone I was a disappointment? Stopped using me as a cautionary tale at country club lunches. I walked to the windows overlooking the estate's pristine gardens. By the way, your country club membership. What about it? She asked warily. I bought the club last month. Consider your platinum membership under review. Victoria finally found her spite again. This is revenge, isn't it? For how we treated you. I laughed, the sound echoing off the marble floors. Revenge? Victoria, I could have bankrupted your design firm with a single phone call. I could have pulled Derek's funding and watched his successful hedge fund collapse. This isn't revenge, it's education. Mr. Phillips approached again. The helicopter is ready for your meeting in New York, and the board members are assembling virtually. New York. Derek's girlfriend piped up. But the party. Oh, I'm not staying for the party, I smiled. The estate manager will show you out when you're finished. After all, this is private property and technically you're all trespassing. Mom's face crumpled. But my birthday celebration is happening exactly where it should, in a house owned by your greatest disappointment. I checked my watch. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run. Several, actually. The screens around the room continued displaying my empire's reach. Luxury resorts, tech companies, financial institutions. The empire I'd built while they mocked my poor life choices. One more thing, I paused at the doorway. Victoria, about your Singapore Airlines contract? Check who sits on their board of directors. The name Montgomery might ring a bell. 3 months after the birthday party revelation, I sat in my penthouse office atop Montgomery Tower, reviewing the quarterly family reports. The sun was rising over the city skyline, casting long shadows across the awards and accolades that lined my walls. Your mother is here for her scheduled appointment, my assistant announced through the intercom. I smiled slightly. How things had changed. Now Mom had to schedule appointments to see her own daughter. Send her in. She entered, notably subdued compared to her usual dramatic flair. Gone was the overwhelming perfume and clanking jewelry. Instead she wore a simple designer suit, purchased, I knew, from one of my retail subsidiaries. Olivia, she started, then corrected herself. Miss Montgomery. You can still call me Olivia, Mother. Take a seat. She perched on the edge of the chair, looking uncomfortable in the space that radiated power. The wall of screens behind me displayed real-time data from my global operations, a constant reminder of what she'd failed to see all these years. I've been reflecting, she began carefully, about everything, the way I treated you. For 20 years, I added, keeping my voice neutral. Would you like to see something? I pulled up archived footage on one of the screens. This is from your garden party 6 years ago. The video played, Mom telling her friends how disappointing it was that her daughter played with computers instead of finding a suitable husband. In the background you could see me quietly typing on my laptop, writing the code that would eventually become the backbone of my financial empire. I was finalizing my first billion-dollar acquisition that day, I informed her. While you were apologizing for my existence, I was buying the bank that held your mortgage. Mom's hands twisted in her lap. Your sister, Victoria, has been asking about her design firm's lease, which expires next month, I know. I pulled up another screen. She's been trying to contact my property management company about renewal terms. She's worried you'll evict her. The thought crossed my mind, I admitted. But unlike our family, I don't believe in unnecessary cruelty. Her rent will increase to market rate, which coincidentally is triple what she's paying now. A notification flashed across my screen. Derek's hedge fund requesting an emergency capital injection. My brother had learned some humility in the past 3 months, especially after discovering that 70% of his successful trades had been quietly backed by my companies. Your brother's wife called, Mom ventured. About the baby shower. At Sterling Manor? Already approved. Unlike some people, I don't weaponize property access against family. The barb hit home, Mom flinched. My CFO entered with a stack of reports. The Dubai merger is complete, and the London office reports the NHS contract is proceeding as planned. Also, Victoria's design firm submitted a bid for the Singapore project. On merit alone? I asked. Yes. She's actually quite talented when she's not riding on the family name. I nodded. Process it normally then. No preferential treatment, positive or negative. Mom watched this exchange with new eyes. You really do run everything, don't you? Did you think I was exaggerating? I turned to the windows. See that construction site? My new tech hub. The airport's new terminal? Montgomery Global. The luxury hotel chain you love? I bought it last year. I told the country club ladies the truth, she said quietly. About who you really are. What you've built. My PR team tracked the fallout. Funny to see them realize they'd been ignoring one of the world's richest women. Another alert. Victoria wanted a meeting. She's learning, I said. Now she asks instead of demanding. We all are, Mom admitted. Your father. He wants a family dinner. I looked at her. Last time you suggested I date a friend's son. Said I needed a backup plan. I was wrong, she whispered. About everything. My phone buzzed. The Prime Minister confirmed our deal. Another note. I just bought a startup with quantum patents. Ms. Montgomery? My assistant said. The board is waiting. I stood adjusting my suit. We'll have dinner, I told Mom. Not at your house. At Sterling Manor. You'll see what I've built. Thank you, she said. Then softly, I'm proud of you. Now that I'm successful? I asked. No, she said. Now that I see you. She left. I turned to my screens. Victoria's design looked strong. Derek's fund showed real ethics. They were learning. Maybe the best revenge wasn't crushing family. Maybe it was showing them new ways to grow. Ms. Montgomery, my assistant said. Your helicopter is ready for the UN summit. I gathered my notes and paused at the door. The sun lit the city I was shaping. Somewhere out there, my family was finally seeing past their limits. Quiet ones often build the loudest legacies.